Well, good morning, everyone. It's to see you all coming into the Benefits Access demo today. Today we have Frank O'Brien from Wespath Benefits and Investments to come and share with us a demonstration of the Benefits Access system. Again, this is the system where you will actually sign up for your retirement benefits. This is one of the most asked questions of how do I sign up? So he is going to share with us today on how
Yes,
doing that. I am recording this session, and I will send that recording out later for those that may want to review it at a later time, and also for those that are unable to join us today. Just one note of housekeeping. I do ask that you, if you would keep yourself muted during the presentation, but however, if you have questions, feel free to unmute and ask those questions, and then you can remute yourself afterwards. As we begin, let us begin with a word of prayer. Let us pray. Gracious God, we're thankful for this beautiful day that you have given us and for this time that we're able to come together to learn. We're thankful for Frank to come and share with us this day. And oh God, we're thankful for all these retirees. Lord, we pray that you would bless them as they move from active service and into retirement. And we're thankful for their service through the years to you and to the church. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Hey, I'm going to hand it over to Frank now.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank O'Brien. I am a benefits educator here at Wespath. And sharing my screen, I think that worked. What we're doing is spending the next 20, 25 minutes just kind of walking through and doing a demonstration of benefit access, and the core of it being the screens that you'll see to make your benefit elections. You'll see the options, and we'll go through those things. We'll show you how, if you make an election and you want to change your mind, you can cancel it before June 30th and then make another election. So we'll go through that. I'll also point out a couple of other things of interest that relate to your current retirement contributions, the way you're invested, use of EY. So we'll do a little bit of that. On the front end of this, just to be honest, this is the real system. So it may be slow to get everything loaded and connected, but hopefully as we move along, things will start to accelerate a little bit better, and they should. What you're seeing right now is the login screen. There's two ways in which you can see the login screen or access the login screen. One is benefitaccess.org. So there's a direct link to this. And the other is if you go to wespath.org, which is our internet for all of Wespath, in the upper right-hand corner, you see a little button that you can click to get to benefit access. And then this screen will be presented to you. I'm assuming that everybody here has already registered for benefit access. If you haven't, you need to, because you will be making your elections on benefit access. And those are the screens that we're going to show you. Now, just to let you know that you're not all alone with this by any stretch of the imagination. Right? We're doing this demonstration today. It's going to be recorded. All goes well, you'll be able to go back and look at that. But we also have our retirement team that is available to you. You can take advantage of them and that resource to also help you make sure that you're making your elections correctly, they've gone in correctly, they're waiting to be processed correctly, and all of that. So resources remain available to you. If anyone has not yet registered for benefit access, this new user registration button down here is where you would begin. I'm not going to walk through this part of it. There's 4 screens, like any other internet site that you're setting up or enrolling with, any app that we're enrolling with. We're going to want some information to validate that is you. And then we're going to do that authentication code back to your cell phone. And you put in that 6-digit number, and then you can continue on. You'll be setting up a password and an ID and the usual cast of characters that come along with enrolling onto an application of this type in today's world. Thereafter, you go into benefit access. Again, those 2 pathways, benefitaccess.org or wespath.org. You get this screen, and you're going to be putting in your username and your password. Now, what I'm going to do for today is use our test participant, the name of Clergy 5. But just to let you know, because this is the test platform, I'm going to log in, and we'll log in. But for us users, us participants, we still continue to get that authentication code requirement where we're punching in that 6-digit code and then continuing on to take a look at our accounts. Okay. So with this individual clergy 5, there's the retirement, some life and disability information. You're probably familiar with some of these banners as well. And we periodically throw up information relative to, current information we want to share with our participants. So here we have the markets at a glance, and you see a lot of investment information that is there. We're going to go on to the retirement area. Here on this screen, you can see information on a high level relative to the accounts that this individual has, any recent transactions, the asset allocation, EY, but we're going to kind of get into that in a different pathway. Those who are retiring, you come over to your account summary. So now you're in retirement, you have those tabs up on top: accounts, distributions, learn, profile, and help. There's nothing but educational material on here for you. So even though we have a Learn tab on the right-hand side of all the screens you're about to see, there's also information that pertains to that particular screen or area of benefit access that you're on. Well, here we're going to go to Accounts and Accounts Summary. And again, real time, so we might have a little bit of delay, but it is spinning in the correct direction. And what I want to do here is move that, so I can give you a little bit better view for that. Okay. Here is another executive summary, if you will, of the account balances that you have and any service time, credited service time that you have. For those of you for whom we have an intends to retire date, you see the smiling man with the glasses. The running joke is, why is he smiling? It's because he's retiring. But we have this link here, which we're going to come back to. If we do not have an intends to retire date on your record, you will not be presented with this graphic and that link. So you would not be able to be making your benefit election. So I'm assuming everybody has that. Then we just give you an overview of all of your account balances. And in that includes the whole 100% of ministerial pension plan, even though we know, and we're going to show, that it splits out to that 65% that we annuitize and that 35% that is an account balance. But we still show that as an account balance. The Clergy Retirement Security Program's defined contribution account, the employer supplemental account, and then your UMPIP, personal investment plan, account balances. As we scroll down to the bottom of this initial summary page, you see where we are in real time relative to counting credited months and years of service for you. So full-time appointed clergy, that first time frame in the CRSP to get that defined benefit, the annuity, you have the 7 years. So that's a fixed point in time. For individuals retiring this year, that 1/1/2014 to 6/30/2023 timeframe would give us 9.5 years. But today, being May the 9th, we still have 9.3. So if you're looking at that saying, hey, I'm supposed to be at 9.5, you will be when you go into retirement appointment. And this individual has a pre-82 balance as well. So you can just kind of see at a high level what we have here. Before progressing into this link, just want to point out that there's information that you can see relative to what's happening with your account. Now, we know you're just a couple of months away from retirement, but you still might be interested in what your current contributions are. I probably did that a little too fast. So I came up here to accounts, and you see we have this drop-down menu. With this drop-down menu, we can see various things that relate to your account. At the bottom of the left-hand side, I clicked on retirement contribution. So this individual is contributing 3% before tax to Test Church 4. So you can see that and any other information up here relative to any plan sponsor or employer contribution. So if you just want to take a snapshot, make sure you are where you are heading into retirement. And then we break all of those retirement account balances down here. So you can see that as well. Not to go too deep into this, but there is a transaction history area. If you click on that because you want to just like, you maybe look at the retirement contributions and you thought you were doing something else, you could always put in a from date to a to date and then hit display. And then you can also either print it or save it as an Excel spreadsheet, which will give you the detail along the way if you want to get into that level of detail. But very importantly is those who are investing with Wespath, most are taking advantage of life stage investment management. Many people do self-manage, but life stage investment management is kind of the allocation portfolio that people are using more often than not. So here you want to take a look at how your current account balances are invested. this very top area, because this individual has MPP, it's an aggregate of everything that this individual has and then the funds that they're in. It's informative, but to me, getting down to the level of detail of where you're positioned is more important. The ministerial pension plan account, in that account, that's the employer plan before CRSP came along, and that 100% account balance, 65% the annuity, 35% the account balance. Everyone in MPP is in life stage investment management. It's more of a conservative orientation towards the investments because it's intended to get you to and into retirement with an annuity. So here you can see, if you're interested in how your MPP contributions or your accounts are allocated, you can see that. And then for your defined contribution part of the CRSP and your UMPIP, this individual's in life stage, and we can see how the funds are being used here. So this is something that many people aren't really that aware of being in life stage or not, or maybe you are and you're actively participating in life stage. With life stage, you want to take a look to see where you are. And the real key here when it comes to life stage is your risk tolerance relative to being an investor in the markets, understanding the markets, and having a level of comfort to help you sleep at night when you're invested in the markets. Some people are conservative with a risk tolerance, moderate, or aggressive. If you're not sure, you can click on this detail here. And from this detail, you can see that risk tolerance, this individual is a moderate. So there's a moderate risk tolerance. If for whatever reason this person wanted to change it, you just come down here to click on this link, change life stage personal investment profile. You can make that change. It'll be effective the next time we review your account, which is quarterly based on your birthday. So it doesn't happen overnight. It's whenever we look at your account again. And for those who, again, are not quite sure if they're in life stage investment management or not, how the whole thing's working, you have been defaulted to a moderate risk tolerance, middle of the road, which makes a lot of sense from a default perspective. Oftentimes you hear us speak about EY Financial Planning Services. Over here on the right-hand side, we have your profile area. Now, if you wanted to see whether or not if you're using EY, you can come down here and you have this EY advisors are authorized to see your account. So if you're using EY or thinking about using EY, they want to see everything that you have as a household, your stuff, your spouse's stuff, debt obligations, life insurance contracts, everything that's financial in nature. A big part of that puzzle is going to be what you have at Wespath. So you can give EY access, so they can just go and grab that prior to meeting with you on your next phone call with them. You don't have to keep feeding them that information. You can give them that information. If you're not comfortable with that, you don't have to activate this, and then just go ahead and give them the information the way you're feeling more comfortable doing. Another topic that we speak about, you can see it here under account summary, beneficiaries. Also here with profile, your beneficiaries. This is it's probably on your checklist, and hopefully you've all done it already. If you haven't, it's something to do going into retirement is you want to make sure your beneficiary designations are in good working order. God forbid something happens to you and your spouse early on in retirement. If they're not in good working order, they go to your state. They go to state probate court, takes years, costs money for it to come out. And no offense to anybody, but it may not come out the way you really originally intended. So you want to take a look at your beneficiary designations. You want to look not only at your Wespath stuff, but anything else that you have, life insurance policies, any other annuities, IRAs, again, whatever your spouse may have in terms of retirement plans, those types of things, just to make sure that your beneficiaries are in good order. So here on Benefit Access, you can see your Wespath-oriented beneficiaries, and if you wanted to manage your beneficiaries or make a change, update, edit, people move, sometimes numbers get switched out, 3s and 8s, that kind of thing, you can do that as well. You have a primary beneficiary for test purposes. We have the secondary beneficiary is the same, but you would have like spouse and children is the most common thing that we see. And then you could go ahead and make changes to that if you so feels like you want to. You can add the beneficiary. If you're not comfortable doing it online, we can still get you a form and you can fill that out by form. So those are just a couple of things to kind of take advantage of Benefit Access. It's not specific to the benefit elections themselves, but they have some thinking, some impact relative to heading into retirement. Going back to our smiling man with the glasses, you click on this link. This is the link that you're going to select to begin to make your benefit elections. And this actually came up very quickly. Usually this is the one that takes the most time. If you're familiar with our benefit projections, you receive benefit projections, maybe you run your own benefit projections. You know, little sidebar here under accounts, retirement tools, you can run your own benefit projections right here if you so choose. When you see those benefit projections, top area, lifetime income, the annuities, the middle area, the account balances, how you want to receive your account balances in retirement. We set this up kind of the same way. Here's the annuity payments, and here's the account balances. The assumption is life in 70% is a 2% COLA, or single with a 2% COLA. And then here that you're taking advantage of life stage retirement income. But if you probably heard, it's a program we make available to you, but you don't have to use if you choose not to. And we just give you this graphical representation of what it would look like going into retirement, estimates, and all that. We then have the lifetime income area, and then the account balances area, which we now title with the life stage retirement income. Up here, the lifetime income, this is what's going to come to you in the form of an annuity. You want to make these elections if you want to start to receiving your annuity payments come July, or the first week in July. I mean, with the July 4th holiday being a Tuesday, the Monday is July 1st, it's probably going to be later in the week before you see that initial deposit. Thereafter, the first or second day of the month. But you want to start receiving those income streams starting in July. For those of you who are retiring under the normal retirement provision of the Book of Discipline, there is no reason to not take your CRSP DB. Can't give you advice and guidance relative to the form of annuity and the COLA percent, but you're already fully vested, accrued, what have you, in the benefit. So go ahead and get it. Anybody under the early retirement provision, you have the ability to go ahead and elect that benefit now, or defer it till a later time to receive that benefit. Any of these benefits that you do not want to receive now, just don't do anything on this page. You don't have to tell us you are deferring. Just leave it as it is. The Get Started button will remain, and when you're ready to start making that election, you can come in and make that election, okay? So we often get that question. So we're going to start to go look at our CRSP defined benefit. We're going to start to decide what kind of annuity do we want to receive. First thing we want to confirm, the first payment date is going to be July the 1st, 2023. Then here we're designated a contingent annuitant. Married people, it's usually the spouse. There is one or two exceptions to where that could be the case. And then we also would need waiver and consent form signed if that was not going to be the case. But here, straight line, life and survivorship annuity election, we're just verifying that the information here presented is correct information. We click on that. Just note, this blue here, it's like a gray blue or light blue. We're not going to let you continue until you actually do that verification. You know, that happens a couple of times along the way. But now we validated the survivorship, continued annuitant. And now we're looking at the actual annuity elections. So if you recall from any webinar or seminar that you may have attended, we have the 2007 to 2013 timeframe and the 1/1/2014 to 6/30/2023 timeframe. Anyone who's married, that first bucket there, you have to take a life and survivorship annuity. That's the way the plan was written at that time. Anyone who wants to select, who's married, selects a life-only type of annuity, you need to get a waiver and consent form signed. It's either signed by the spouse, but signed either by an executive at your annual conference or notarized by a notary public. Again, straight line, we're going to look at it and say, married, life and survivorship annuity. There are the three options that you've heard of: 70%, the 85%, the 100%. Here you can see the 100%. It's the same amount. Down here, life and 70. That's what would go in as the initial benefit. Something happens to this individual, 70% of that would go to the surviving spouse. Here it's 85%. 85% goes to the surviving spouse. Just note that these numbers here go down as the survivorship percentage goes up. It's the actuarial equivalent of what the benefit is going to be. You have life in 70. You have that clicked off. Down here, you're seeing it again. In this time frame, we have the life in 70% clicked off. We'll continue with that. But what I'd like to show you next is down here at the bottom, and hopefully you can see that okay, there is the COLA percent. We default to 2%. It's got to be a minimum of 2% in the CRSP plan, but you can go all the way up to 5%. So let's say you want to see what the impact of choosing a 4% COLA on your annuity would be. Just look at those numbers on the screen. When I click on the 4, the numbers automatically adjust to reflect what the amount would be if you went with the higher COLA, right? So we have the 2% here. You have this amount. Concept here is the higher the COLA percent you elect, the lower the initial amount to you. But the way the COLA works on a compounding basis is some 10, 12, 13 years down the road, you get a higher benefit from the higher COLA percent than you would from, let's say, a 2% benefit. So this is life in 72%. You choose 4% going into retirement. You'd start out down here, but 12, 13 years down the road, you'd be getting more benefit relative to that 2% COLA. So you can see what the initial impact is here. Using EY Financial Planning Services or your own financial advisor, you can then run numbers and model them out into the future relative to what the impact of a different, a higher COLA percent would be on that account. Normal form of benefit, life and 70% survivorship, 2% COLA. We'll continue on. And then here is where you make your tax withholding elections. The bad news here is that new regulations came out coming into this year, and they took what was a very simple, what they call W-4P form, where you would tell us how you wanted your taxes to be withheld, married, single, married filing jointly, and the number of dependents that are also attached that does the calculation of the taxes behind the scene. It has gotten much more complicated. So here, highly advise you to speak to your tax preparer, your accountant or financial planner to understand how to fill in these numbers here. They want numbers that are coming from different sources of retirement income, all included on the one form for each individual in a retirement income stream that you're going to be receiving. And then they give you the ability to determine which one you're going to be taking taxes from and which one you're not going to be taking taxes from. And we at Wespath are just not prepared, as a benefit educator, not prepared to walk this through with you in any great detail. We're not happy about it. We apologize for it. But at this point in time, we're being advised by counsel to just really kind of steer everybody back to their tax preparer to understand how to complete this screen. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to simply check off that we're not withholding any federal income tax at this time. And I will tell you that there's a good percentage of individuals who will make this election because of your housing allowance tax advantage. Sometimes clergy will tell me, no, they're just going to go with no, and they're going to see how the housing allowance plays out because they've already modeled it and with their advisor or their accountant in advance. So it's not uncommon to see no. The good news on that screen that I just left, as well as this, is whatever information you give us, we save it and store it for the additional benefit elections that you're going to be making. And I say that here because a majority of you, when we get to this next screen, which is where do you want the money to be deposited, all right? It's your electronic fund transfer election screen or direction screen. This is what you're going to be seeing. For many of you, it's going to be blank. There's going to be any information on here because we've never set up anything with us to provide you with, let's say, a loan repayment or something like that. Here, you're going to put in the name of your bank, checking or savings account, the bank routing number and account number. You get that information off of your checks. We still have checks that we don't use that often, but we still have checks. First set of numbers, transit. Second set of numbers is your account number. That actually is just a check number there on the right-hand side. You complete this. You don't have to give us a phone number if you don't want. We get that information, and then you click continue again. And again, this may be blank the first time you see it, but once you fill it out the first time, we'll save that information and continue to present that to you when you make additional elections. Okay, we have made that last one there. Now we're starting to get a little bit of a slowdown. Okay, let's see what we got happening here. We go back, try it again. Okay, so now you're just reviewing everything that you've put in. The information around your contingent annuitant, your surviving spouse, your personal information, tax elections that you did. It says New York, but for your state. Then your banking information. And then, we have the important information and acknowledgments. Again, gray blue here, you got to click on it, having read it, and then submit. And the transaction is now being created, generated. Come down here, you can see again, it's more confirmation. You want to review all of your available retirement benefits. So what this link will do is bring us back to the benefit election screens. You can see that's loading up right away. Okay, now you come down here and you can see that that transaction is pending. If you recall, you can make your elections up until 3 o'clock Central Time on June 30th, 2023. So anything that is in this pending file, I'm going to show you that now, anything that's in this pending file is going to get picked up the night of June 30th and processed going forward. If you make an election now within the next week or 2 weeks, early June, and something happens, could be anything, that would say, you know what, I don't want the transaction to work this way, I'm going to cancel it, I want to put in another one, you're able to do that, okay? So here under accounts, down here on the bottom right-hand side, pending actions, but also here for distributions, all the way up on top, pending actions. So here you can see the transaction. You can confirm the elections you made, life in 72%, life in 72%. You can see that. But again, if for whatever reason you want to change this, maybe you remodeled your numbers and you want a 4% COLA instead of a 2% COLA, for example, just click on cancel. We're going to confirm with you that you want to cancel. And there's no pending actions in that pending file at this point in time. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go back to the account summary, back to the elections area, and we'll see that the word pending is no longer there. We can get started on that again. Ministerial pension plan, similar to the CRSPDB that we just went through. Everybody must be coming into the office now. Things are slowing down. Okay. So now we're going to do the ministerial pension plan annuity, right? The 65%, the time you're making the election, 65% is going to buy or purchase that annuity. You're making an election, so we'll just remind you about that 65%, and now we want to get started. These screens are going to look awful familiar. You're going to go to July 1st. I don't really know why. Once you have your intents to retire date, I'll just default it to that. The screen again, contingent annuitant, spousal information, continue on with that. And then the next screen is going to outline the 6 available annuities. Again, if you're married, waiver and consent form, but you have the life and survivorship annuity presented here with the 2% COLA. Ministerial pension plan, you can do a 0% COLA if you choose. It's the highest amount of annuity that's going to come out, the highest amount of dollars that's going to come out, but it's fixed, it's flat. It will never go up over time, whereas the 2%, the other one will go up over time. You've chosen here. All you have to do if you want a different one is just click on what they call the radio button. You just click on that. You can see we're just making that election and it'll stay. Down here again is the COLA, just like under the CRSP. The income tax, as I indicated, work with your tax preparer. This got saved. We're not going to withhold anything at this time. And we'll pretend that this was blank and empty when we first got to CRSP. Your banking information has been saved and stored, so you're just going to look at it, make sure it's the same, but it will be the same, but you still want to check. Confirming. Acknowledging. And then the confirmation, and here we'll go back to the election screen. Pre-82, if anybody has pre-82, it's the same set of screens. You just give us that information. And remember with the pre-82, if the formula benefit gets you the higher annuity, then the account balance will give you that. If the account balance gets you the higher annuity, then the formula benefit will give you that. So you get your stream, you get yourself set up, and you can see here now we have the pending again for MPP. I just did that, so that's sitting in the pending file. Now we have your account balance, lifetime income. Top part there comes to you in the form of an annuity. Married life and survivorship, single life. There are some options relative to that, but in general, once you and your spouse are gone, no further benefit to anyone. Here with the account balances area, you have options and choice. Getting everything into UMPIP, that Chris DC, that MPP 35%. It really gets everything consolidated to take advantage of all the options, flexibility, and programs that we have in the UMPIP plan available to you. So it doesn't do any harm to get everything in there. It's going to be invested how you have it invested, and then you can make decisions as to how, when, and how much income you want to derive from that. The first thing that we'll review is the Life Stage Retirement Income Program. Okay, this is where you're asking Wespath to derive the amount of monthly installment payments for you. Okay, we have what we call a payment safety zone. We're looking at the account balances. We're looking at market activities. We come up with goalposts, strong markets, weak markets. We determine an amount of installment payments that we can get you going into retirement. And the way the program is designed, it's not an annuity, but we apply the principles of the annuities. We apply principles of actuarial mathematics and mortality tables and frankly, all the complicated stuff going on behind the scenes. And we design this in a way to recalculate the amount for you so that you get increases over time to help you with purchasing power, okay? Within the context of life stage retirement income, we have options for you as well. Social Security bridge, longevity income protection contract. So this is going to be where you're going to be able to take a look, model. Here you can make an election and have a transaction get created for the pending file. If that happens and you didn't really intend it to, you can always cancel it, come back, we'll make changes along the way, okay? So these are the screens that you're looking at relative to the life stage retirement income option. First here, we start with the Social Security, but here's a 4-minute overview. That's Martin Bauer. He is the Director of Retirement Services at Wespath. And it's a very good video, short video. A very intelligent man, actuary, but he really has a good way of kind of explaining these things for the non-actuaries among us. Then you're thinking about, all right, that Social Security bridge. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what kind of webinar, it's a seminar background occurred this winter and spring. But if you recall, you have the ability to defer Social Security from your full retirement age, be that age 66 and 10 months, age 67, whatever the case may be. You have your full retirement age under the program. And then for each year you defer up until age 70, you can get an 8% increase in the amount of Social Security benefits that you receive. You don't have to wait to age 70, but if you wanted to put it off, whatever your plan is telling you, however you work that out, to put that off, you can do that. And we use your account balances to give you, to kind of supplement, fill the gap around that deferral time period. 3 years for me is 24%, right? It's not a bad percentage. Maybe I'll use my account balances to keep my monthly cash flow going where I need it to be. You tell us the amount that is, the as if Social Security amount, and we will use your account balances to pay you that on top of that payment safety zone amount to keep you whole for that month, for that year. So here you tell us what that amount would be. Now, the first thing you see here is choose your current status. Things to point out. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits, not eligible, you're already receiving your Social Security benefits. And if you've opted out of Social Security, not eligible. So here we have somebody not receiving benefits yet. I put in this morning $2,200. It could be $1,700, $2,500, whatever your number is. You have that. We continue with that $2,200. And we're going to hold that. The next thing we do is we go down to the core life stage retirement income area itself. For this individual, the market value as of this morning, as of right now, for that 35%, Chris DC, that UMPIP, these are the amounts, 507-80805. To use all of this amount in life stage retirement income, we start out with a $3,500, we end up with $3,516 of monthly income that we can derive from here with that deferred Social Security amount to age 70 would come to that $3,516. However, when you use life stage retirement income, you don't have to commit 100% of your account balances to life stage. You can hold back an amount. I don't know, let's say, 20%. I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, but you can hold back 10, 20% and use that as a reserve fund, a fund, whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to use my full 507. I only want to use 425 to fund that installment program with the Social Security bridge and have this additional amount off to the side for additional use and purpose. Now you just hit recalculate, and you can see on this screen that it adjusted the numbers automatically by using that lower amount. So this was 35 and change, and now it's 32 and change, and then it would have impacted the numbers that came across here. That 32 and change is down here. It was that 35 and change number, and you can see over time how the numbers for Social Security, lifetime income, and life stage are going to be provided to you, presented to you as the amount you would be receiving as income, down the road. So we've done that. We'll keep that at the 425. We have $80,000 off to the side as a reserve. 84% is what we're using. Now we'll go back to the Social Security bridge. Here you can say, I do not want to use the Social Security bridge, and you're not. Here, you want to use life stage funds as the bridge. So here's what we're saying we want to do. We want to make sure that from our account balances, we're getting that as if Social Security amount. And here we have it to age 70. According to your retirement, your plan, you have your own financial plan, retirement income plan, married couple, timing of things. You may say, I'm going to defer my Social Security, but not all the way to age 70. I'm only going to reserve it to or defer it to age 69. And you can have that little glide bar there. You can just make it 69. And again, you can see what's happening here with the numbers relative to age 70, age 69, age 68. So even though you haven't making any elections, you're able to see what the impact on your decisions are going to be relative to lifestyle, the Social Security bridge, and the overall program as a whole. Then we have this longevity income protection contract, technically a QLAC, although we don't like to use the words. What this is a deferred annuity contract. It's a fixed annuity, and it begins to pay for you when you attain the age of 80. You're actually getting it now. If you want to get this longevity income protection annuity contract, you're making the election now, and then it defers until your age 80. Doesn't get calculated in required minimum distribution accounts or anything like that. It's still tax deferred until you start to receive it, eligible for the housing allowance exclusion at that time, but it's deferred out to that point in time. We're looking at your account balance. We're looking at all the other elections that you have made to determine what amount is available to you to keep you on the trajectory we want to keep you, and then have the ability to go ahead and get this annuity contract. So for this individual, it's $29,348. Early when I was looking at this and I used the full $507,000, that amount was more like 30, 40, maybe it was $40,000. So we are looking real time at other elections you're making to determine the availability. You want to include the longevity income, you click on we're going to include it, or you don't want to include it. You can say I'm not going to include it, and you can see it just dropped from here. This right here, longevity income, there's nothing there anymore. But here, you had the 441 that's coming in at age 80. So again, all along here the bar graphs, what we're doing in the beginning relative to using your account balances. Then we have Social Security come in. We're leveling off what's coming out of your account balances. We're still paying that core amount to you. We're adjusting it, and then it'll start increasing again. Then you get that annuity contract comes out at age 80. Again, we're leveling off the account balances. We want them to last throughout the retirement. So we'll level it off, and then, but we will continue with the increases year over year, as the account and the markets allow. So now you've made your elections. You're going to do all these things. We're going to just confirm we have that, confirm we have that, confirm this. That's the way we want that here, and then go to next, review and enroll. And these screens are going to start to look familiar to you. They look a little bit different, but they're the same screens that we've already reviewed, right? So you want your first payment to be 7/1/23. The tax withholding, same story. Here, I think I do have to click it because this is a little bit different in the application. So I click, I'm not going to take anything. We still do have your banking information, so that was saved and stored. And now we just validate and verify again. You have to click that you've acknowledged everything, you've read and acknowledged, and we submit it. So this is one where if you want to use it, you want to go in and out and play with it and all, just to get a good feel for it. But again, if you got to the point to this stage and you actually submitted it and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, I was just trying to model it. I didn't want to actually submit it. Pending. You can click on here. You don't have to go up to accounts and distributions. I just wanted to show you where that is. And you can go ahead and cancel and say, I want to try it differently. And with this Social Security bridge, with the longevity income protection contract, you don't have to choose those. You can just use life stage retirement income and just get that core amount and not worry about the other features of the plan or program and just get that. You don't have to use life stage at all if you choose not to. You can go into life stage and then come out and self-manage your monthly installments, or you can set up your own monthly installments later on, go back to life stage retirement income. So just recall it, when you make your elections for your annuity payments, life and 72% COLA, once they go into pay status, they're irrevocable. They cannot be changed again. With your account balances, other than buying that annuity contract, you get that annuity contract for the age 80, that's done. It's a contract. But the other account balances that are remaining, you still have the flexibility to determine how, when, and how much income you want to derive. And you may be going into retirement saying you want to give it a few years before you take a look at things to determine anything, and you just want to self-manage your retirement income. In other words, you're just going to set up your own monthly installment plan. You can do that. Another screen gets presented, another started button gets presented. Again, we recommend that 35% roll down into UMPIP because you get all the balance, you get all the benefits of UMPIP by doing it that way, right? We want to continue on just the actual monthly installment amount. And you have two options, really. You can say, I want this amount to come to me, this dollar amount to come to me per month, and just make that election. And whenever you want to change that election, you call our retirement team and they'll make that election. So let's say you want to go in with $350 a month. You're coming out of the account. You set that up, and then you want to change that to $375 or $325 down the road. You can just call us up and we'll make that change for you. Or you could say, I want to receive a monthly payment for X number of months, and then we do the calculation behind the scenes and to send that to you until the account is exhausted. It's a short, could be a very short period of time. You want to consider long-term needs for retirement income. You have the housing allowance tax advantage. You always want to model your choices and decisions around how that would impact your housing allowance and maximizing the availability of that benefit. So for today's purposes, and I think really what most people do, is we'll just say we want this amount per month, knowing you can always change it as facts and circumstances change. Okay, in a minute, and then we'll do the back and forward. Okay, and then here we go again, July 1st. Tax information. Banking information. You know, just looking at it, that's what you want to do, right? The $350 a month, the 35% going to UMPIP, and then submit. And we have the confirmation. And then here up here is where we go back. I don't know why it's here, but here we go back to the overall screen. And now we can see this is pending. Click on that, go to the pending file. And you can see the rollover, and that 30 is really here for this purpose, the $350 coming out as monthly installment payments. So those are the various ways of the screens that you can use. You know, a lot of information we store and continue to apply as we go along. The tax information, unfortunately, did get a little bit more complicated. We'll see how years roll out relative to what we have available to our participants. But that really concludes the presentation, the benefit access demonstration. If anybody has any questions, certainly feel free, I guess, to come on and ask those questions now. And if not, let's see where we are. Yep. I'll stop sharing my screen. Stop sharing. I'm back. Okay. So I'm not sure if anybody else has any questions. If not, I'm not quite sure where Reverend Chris is at this stage, if he wants to come in, or just let everybody go back to the rest of their day.
Let me ask you a question. This is Joe Long. I'd like for you to clarify a little bit about the longevity decision. If I choose to go with life stage management, is that even a decision that I make about longevity?
When you go into life stage retirement income, you have the option to elect the lifetime income deferred annuity contract or not. The key is you have to make the election now going into retirement this year. You can't defer the decision to get that deferred annuity contract. You make that decision and that election now. But you don't have to do that just by virtue of taking advantage of the installment feature of life stage retirement income. That answer your question?
I just wasn't clear about the longevity aspect of it.
Are you talking about longevity in more of the actuarial sense of the word longevity, and not necessarily the deferral contract?
Well, I was not familiar with that terminology about the longevity. I was thinking that the life stage factored in a certain longevity in my life and would make adjustments.
It does. It does. The core feature of life stage retirement income, forgetting about Social Security Bridge, the longevity income contract, that's an actual annuity contract, forgetting about that. Just the core of life stage retirement income. We are applying the principles of longevity. That's the actuarial principles that get applied into the program. So it's not an annuity in the pure sense of it being an annuity with a COLA attached to it, but we apply the principles of longevity through the principles of an annuity, through the principles of the actuarial mathematics that goes on behind the scenes. And what we do is we run thousands of market models. We call it stochastic testing of markets, right? And they come up with goalposts. Really, really strong markets over time, really, really weak markets over time. And then we kick a field goal. And we come up with an amount we call the payment safety zone as to what we feel we can get you as monthly installments getting into retirement, knowing in the algorithm that we're going to recalculate that amount each November with the intention and the practice of giving you an increase year over year to help you with purchasing power. And I am permitted to say that there is a high probability of success that this will last through your retirement by virtue of how we're structuring the way we're setting up the installments now and into the future. So that's how we're handling longevity relative to length of time, longevity through retirement, just in the core life stage retirement income program. Now, if somebody wants to get another layer of guaranteed fixed income later on, just for maybe peace of mind, if you will, that ability is there by going for that longevity income protection annuity contract. And that's what that is, an annuity that begins to pay later on. So that applies all the longevity principles as well. But coming back to today, going into retirement, that core life stage retirement income program will have longevity baked into it to give you those installments over time. That help?
That does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, if there's no further questions, that's fine. But if you like, I don't know if Reverend Chris wants to send out my email to everybody. You're more than willing to come back, send me an email with some questions. We can always set up something one-on-one to a one-on-one benefit education consultation if you would like to do that. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
I'm going to send out the recording of this, but also I'll include Frank's contact information, his email, so you can reach out to him as well. And just know that we're all here for you as you embark upon retirement and helping get everything set up for you and answering any questions you have.
Okay. Well, thank you all and have a very nice day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.